Howdy, this is Ari with Land Insights, and in this video we're going to be looking at a scrub job that we just sent through. That progress ticker went from 0 all the way to 100, and now we can view and download that list. In here, it's going to give you a lot of different information. Just keep in mind that I scrubbed for all scrub features in this particular list, even though it wasn't really necessary. It was just an area where there's really no flood zone or wetlands at all. I just did it for the purpose of this example. But when looking at this data set and hopping into the view and download area, you'll notice that it'll tell you everything you scrubbed for. It'll tell you the percent scrubbed out. It'll tell you the possible mailing reduction if you are mailing. And just recall, this is a fixed cost. So even though we did scrub the entire list for this, this is a one-time endeavor. We could potentially reach out or market to this data time and time again, an endless amount of times. And the purpose of scrubbing is really to just compound the value of the leads that come in from your marketing when it comes to this data. So in this particular case, I may have reduced my mailer by $350, but at the end of the day, it's going to be a lot more than that I save over time, because I am now never marketing to this 19% of properties in this data set that otherwise I would have. Now, if we come down to the scrub interface, you're going to see the map as well as all the tag options. We're going to talk about downloading the clean results in the entire data set in another video. In this video, what we're going to do is actually just take a look at the scrub map. So now that we're looking at the scrub map, you'll notice I can't see my parcels anywhere. So just be sure that you're zoomed nice and close and that you're looking at the property that's brought up on the screen. It'll outline that in red for you to look at. There's a couple of things to note here. You can easily navigate through the data set using your arrow keys. So even though my cursor's up here, as you'll see, I can just click my arrow keys to move through things. That'll be super useful when you have VAs navigating through this, if that is your preference. Now, a lot of folks might not need to do that. Mentally, you might feel confident with what you've seen in the past, and at that point, just feel free taking the clean data and sending it out. But if you do have someone moving through this will be incredibly efficient. To add to that efficiency, you have all of these different tags that you can choose whether or not you want to use each individual one of them. And when you're either tagging them yourself or having a VA tag them, what you can do is have them use their shortcut keys, which is just the number keys on their keyboard. If I want to say, hey, this particular property is ripe for a subdivide, I don't have to use my cursor and come down here and click everything. I can really make this efficient just by clicking the 8 on my keyboard, and it will immediately tag that property as a subdivide. There's a couple of other cool things that you can do here as well on this map. You can right click and drag to see this in a 3D fashion. Confirm topography doesn't look too crazy, but if that isn't enough, you can also look at the topography lines. That topographic map will appear and you can kind of get an idea of what's happening there. You'll start to see the contrast between places that have a very steep topography versus those that are relatively flat. You can also use the overlay for the wetlands if you wish, and you can do the same for flood zone. In this particular case, I mentioned there might not be too much flood zone in this market, so you'll kind of have to hunt for that, but that'll show as a dark blue overlay, which I'm having a hard time finding for the purposes of this example. So those are the overlays. That's how you can zoom in and out, navigate a data set while scrubbing. It's pretty amazing how quickly you can get through these data sets. If you go down to the bottom of your screen, you'll notice that you can see a couple of different portions of this data set separated out. You can see everything all at once. You can see only the bad data sets if you want, or what the AI has determined as bad or unknown. In bad really means anything that is not qualified by the scrub feature that you scrubbed it for. So for example, bad might be a landlocked property. It might be something that is tagged as wetlands, so long as it hits your percentage criteria. And if you did not scrub for those, when you do look at the bad properties and you're manually tagging these, it would just show the yes or the no. So the yes would show here, and that's what would get exported or be viewable when we're clicking that option. The good properties will show you everything, vice versa. everything that's tagged is good, not landlocked, not wetlands, not flood zone, and that data set, obviously you'll still need to be zoomed in for that, but obviously it's going to be a lot easier to click through when you're only looking at the good properties. And lastly, you can see any rows with errors, anything that there were errors with, maybe bad GPS data or couldn't find a match for that GPS data, whatever it might be. If it's having a hard time, it may still show you a property, but otherwise, if there's any issues, you can look at that data set as well, or that sub data set as well. Now, if you have any questions on scrubbing, you're always more than welcome to reach out to us at hello@landinsights.co, or you can reach out to us on the bottom right of your platform.